The lighting here is making me look ashy as a motherfucker. All right, so this I want this to be a short, but it's probably gonna be a longer video. I'm not trying to insult Taylor Swift fans. I'm just trying to big up any other pop acts. I'm not trying to do any of that, right? Right here in this video, I'm just going to give a prediction. At some point, a lot of pop acts are going to come out and try to fucking take down Taylor Swift, and I think it's well deserved. I personally do. I'm gonna be honest with you. As somebody who doesn't really care about chart data, about people blocking other people from dropping at certain points in the year, which I'm not saying Taylor herself is like the big fucking boogeyman is going out and like telling like, hey, Camila Cabello, push your album back, or hey, Billie Eilish, you drop at this point, I'm throwing deluxe at you, or hey, Charlie SCS, you dropped the best album of the year, critically speaking, so I'm gonna drop the 51st version of my album in that specific country that is your country. Like, I'm going to block you from getting number one. Just stuff that's happened throughout the years. I'm not saying like Taylor herself is doing that. I don't even care to like talk shit about Taylor as a person. Like, I don't know Taylor as a person. I just know that what she's brought as a empire, a boogeyman empire to music is like, I would say it's probably bad, in my opinion. I don't think you can have somebody that effectively like crafts music consumption a certain way. Um, I think having that really makes it bad for everybody else. Also, shout out to my guy. I gotta just say this. Shout out to my guy, Lil Ugly Mane. Lil Ugly Mane, Travis Miller, good dude. He had made a point around a year ago, basically on Instagram. Like, probably can't even find it at this point. It's an Instagram story. Just saying like, if you aren't getting the vinyls you wanted, if you're mad about the vinyls taking longer, you have to understand like this is because he mentioned Taylor Swift directly, but like I think he just meant her as like an example of the larger issue. These massive pop artists doing these godforsaken bundles and vinyl like packages of just very facetious uh, like joke efforts to just pad stats. I don't know if vinyls cost or vinyls do more for your sales. I know that just selling a CD or selling a like physical album does more than streams do. So if you can sell vinyls, I understand it does like more for your numbers, but I don't know like what the difference is between the two. Um, so he basically called out like that, like this whole pushed by, I would assume, labels, not actual artists, but pushed by individuals, or not really individuals, organizations, to just drop billions and billions of different, slightly different colorings of vinyls to push out to Urban Outfitters and Spencers and whoever else. Um, Call that stuff out, because what that really does is it hurts the little guy. Like, they're gonna always be able to find vinyl plants. To keep in mind, like, there's a limited amount of vinyl plants, and now more than ever since COVID happened, a lot of those vinyl plants have just been overworked. I don't know if it's better now than where it was a year ago when Travis posted that Instagram story, but basically, since these guys all use the same vinyl plants, little artists, big artists, whoever, basically the little artists are ones like kind of getting like, a little bit diddled, so to speak, to where they can't drop their stuff, which they only have one vinyl version, maybe some of them two. I know Travis, for Volcanic Bird Enemy, his last album, I think he had three different colors, I believe, but one was like super limited. And I don't know if the reason he couldn't do more of those is because of people like Taylor taking up some space, but I choose to like trust artists on this stuff, because an artist, especially an independent artist, which is what he is, that would have to more or less, kind of negotiate the vinyl numbers and stuff like that. They'd be more in tune than like me or Jim Bob Joe on chart data Twitter page. So yeah, I mean, like, what they've done is part Taylor, is part Travis Scott, is part of a lot of big artists when they do these like, you know, decrepit practices where they like just put out a new vinyl every 5 seconds, or they just associate a vinyl with some, even cheaper item just so they can like boost sales, like, or they'll just package something that's very expensive. Like in Travis's case, they'll package a vinyl with a new shoe drop or a new shirt drop is like $40. So the vinyl was basically free at that point. It comes with it, but it still counts as an album sale. Just very disgusting practices that I'm sure everybody's into now with the bundles. All of this stuff has like a completely like cooked sales numbers. Like I'm this is like going back as far as Crimson Decade at this point. I think the first album I remember doing it was Sicko Mode or Astro World, which had Sicko Mode on it. Cooking the stream numbers severely. I think they've tried to adjust bundles. They being, I think it's Nielsen, I think, or whoever like charts streaming data, Billboard maybe. They've tried to adjust it to kind of like more positively affect bundles, affect numbers to where bundles don't have as much weight. I don't know too much about this field, but just kind of off what I do know. It's obviously still a ton of bundles, so it didn't do too much. And then B, just like the vinyl like resurrection after the last like 5, 6, 7 years. It kind of, I don't know if it's people that actually like appreciate what goes into, you know, the vinyl making process, as facetious or not facetious, as so I forget the word, pretentious that sounds like. I think people have to have a more of an appreciation of like how hard it is to make these as compared to like CDs or obviously digital albums, which are pretty much just upload a file. And then just see like what Taylor's doing to other pop acts, like what Taylor, the empire behind Taylor, is just doing. Like this woman, Charlie XCX, like at this point, I'm getting a little bit biased. Like if you're like, oh my god, I think he actually is a little bit biased. I'm a little bit biased here. When she was like blocking Billie Eilish, I didn't really care. Like, oh my god, fucking, you know, Taylor Swift with the most industry backing in like modern music history has blocked a potential industry plant, which I like Billie Eilish as a person, but probably an industry plant, at least in her upbringing. Oh my god, industry like neophyte has been blocked by industry giant. Like, oh my god, like who cares? You know, like who really cares at the end of the day? But like when it's somebody who like, you know, had their most commercially successful project, which was also like maybe critically worse in quite a while, you know, was, you know, coming back trying to give her fans and music, you know, what she originally was giving in terms of classics, or at least classic tier music, kind of like more club stuff, more hyperpop influence stuff, where she gives people what they want at the best execution she could give you. Like, I mean, she couldn't do Brat better than what Brat was. Like, that was the best version of that album. Just laced it with amazing production, you know, some great acts, some very underappreciated acts, some references to very amazing artists. You know, I mean, does a whole like tribute to Sophie at a point. Gives you substantive music, stuff that like, you know, at least if you like fuck with club music, which I'm here to make this video because I fuck with club music and I heard that album. I'm like, oh my god, that fucking album was incredible. A real devotion towards club music. A very underappreciated genre in the States, but a genre that is huge. I mean, that pattern, like those club patterns, dance drums, production of that ilk is synonymous in the UK, Britain, in England, even in Europe, I would say. Like, I mean, you can go as far to like, you know, fucking Germany, you know, big techno place. You can go to France, obviously a lot of house music, deep house, clubhouse in France. I mean, just a genre that is massive over there. For that to be basically like whittled away, like, you know, Vegeta blasting away some fodder motherfucker in Dragon Ball Z. Like, for that just to happen to an album of that magnitude, because Taylor's people, I don't want to say Taylor's people saw a pretty clear option to assert dominance, basically. I don't know what the Gen A kids call this, but basically Charlie shit. Like, they had that chance to do that, and they took it. And it's just, like, it's sickening, honestly. Like, it's more label politics than anything. I'm not sure Charlie's going to come on and talk about that. Maybe she won't. I know a lot of people, kind of like what Drake said on Taylor Made Freestyle, a lot of people got to just kind of put their heads down and just take their shit from Taylor. But my premise with this whole video is that it's going to come to a point, kind of like with rap artists with Drake, who Drake is basically the rap Taylor Swift in effect. It's going to come to a point where these artists, there's some giants that have now been like kicked to the side by Taylor. Like I mentioned Billy. Billy's going to be basically Taylor in a few years here. Whenever, the industry backing like leaves Taylor, it always leaves you eventually. It always goes to somebody else eventually. There's some giants that have been like kind of thrown to the side by Taylor. And I know Taylor does kind of like the Drake stuff where like she kind of like will put a really big artist on her shit now that may be a little bit under, well, I don't say really big one. I know she sides with really big artists, kind of like how Drake has done at points. But really what she does is that like she'll find a really talented artist that's kind of like lower key, like Way is Blood. Kind of like at this point side with them, like, hey, I put you on my album, like here's the placement for you, type stuff. So that's kind of with the hope that like, hey, you kind of, scratch my back, I scratch your back, I think she also put Imogen Heap on one, another instance like that. And I'm not saying like she doesn't really like appreciate these artists as artists. Like Taylor could, but I think in the industry sense, like it's like, hey, like, you scratch my back, I scratch your back type shit. Eventually, like this stuff comes to a head. Like you can't do what the fuck her and her team have done for like the last since she's become basically. I would never invoke Michael Jackson's name in relation to Taylor Swift, but since her fans, the period of time where her fans say she's the biggest since Michael Jackson, I would never invoke my man's name. It's Michael Jackson. There's nobody Michael Jackson. Nobody. It's somebody that's come back after, and I would probably argue it's come before Michael Jackson is Michael Jackson. It's a different type of, level. But in that period of time, dude, I've forgotten a lot of the stories because I don't hold this shit to my heart, but I did that. This video came from the heart. There's a lot of people who's like come back and be like, yo, when it's just like a little crack in the armor, and there's always a crack in the armor. There's a crack in the armor for Drake. There was one for Michael Jackson. Elvis Presley kind of like died before he really fell off. But like all those like monolithic artists, huge artists that have like made music long enough have more often than not shitted on somebody to get to where they are now. And I mean those pop stars, like pop mega stars. Almost all of them have had to like take a step on somebody's fucking head to get to climb up to where they are now. It's like 9 times out of 10, 99 times out of 100. She stepped on some really big fucking heads. I'm talking like people that themselves have stepped on fucking people's head. And I'm not defending those artists, but I don't know if Charlie has done that. So that's why I'm like, okay, this is a Charlie. Again, there's probably people that like I wouldn't defend ever that have also been stepped on, but it's gonna come to a head, and whenever it does, man, I think it's gonna be a really funny fucking day for entertainment. I don't want Taylor to be like negatively affected by this, like as a person, because at the end of the day, it's just all music and it's just sales numbers and it's just like fucking virgins on Twitter and all that shit, just fucking bitching about numbers. That at the end of the day, like these people are fucking millionaires, like they don't give a fuck about it. Probably at the end of the day, honestly, they're just like a little bit, chaffed, I guess, but. It's good content. I love the content, so fuck it. Let's do this video.